How's that? A deduction like this is trivial for Furudo Erika. Stava parlando del fatto che era possibile costruire una verità, eccola qua, con la famiglia di Eva come colpevoli. A stir passed through the crowd of goats as they acknowledged the presence of a girl who calls herself Erika. It was clear that her mere existence here was potent enough to unsettle them. Clutching me in her arms, Erika leapt into the air and landed as light as a feather on top of the arbor. Then she let go of me, still wielding her scythe, made an elegant curtsy to the crowd of goats surrounding us. This is probably the first time most of you have met me. Allow me to introduce myself. Hello, and good day. I'm Furudo Erika, the detective. Let's have the blockheads who only think up of the Rudolph's family culprit theory step down. If anyone thinks they can counter my argument, please feel free. Naturally, I welcome the challenge. Ciao, Luke. The goats all howled at once. It seems to be a cry of shock, of fear, or possibly of wonder. The goats surrounded the arbor, chattering but not moving any closer. None of them had the courage to stand against the detective, this witch of truth called Furudo Erika. Good grief. All those thousands, and this is the best you can do? None of you have the courage to fight Furudo Erika in a battle of words? Too bad. Let's put an end to this. Then again, I am the great Furudo Erika. I don't have the time to waste on countering all of you blockheads one by one. I'll let her clean up the rest. You're up! When Erika cried out, red cracks opened in the dark night sky. They look like this spiderweb-shaped fissure that appeared when a glass window had been struck hard. No, it actually was a spiderweb, colored blood red. A laugh, a witch's laugh, rang out throughout the spider-web-covered world. It sounded somehow familiar to Ange, and there, standing above the spiderweb, gazing down on the goats who must have looked like ensnarled little bugs, was the witch. You forget me and you call him the ruler of Rokkenjima? You forget me and you think Rudolph is the culprit? It was the witch who lurked inside of Eva, a witch of the future who would have one day called herself an endless witch after the cat box closed over this world. Who dares speak of the murders of this island without involving Eva Beatrice? How impertinent! On this island, who lives and who dies is totally up to me. All of the wealth and the gold is mine. Everything about October 4th and 5th in 1986 is mine to do as I please. It all belongs to me, Eva Beatrice. Eva swung her one-winged staff at the crowd of foolish goats beneath her and sentenced them to death. The spiderweb ceiling covering the heavens plummeted, and more spiderweb seeped out of the ground at the goat's feet. Then the spider webs, solo webs. Then the webs from above and below met, and thousands upon thousands of goats were caught in their grasps. Then, as Eva swung her staff, it swirled, around and around like an egg yolk being mixed in a bowl. Eventually, it was all packed into a massive blood-red lump of goo. The moans of goat drifted out from inside. The entire crowd had been compressed into a meatball a few meters across. So you morons doubted I am the culprit? Reaching the Eva corporate fury and giving up there is good enough for the likes of you. Why don't you just get crushed and disappear forever? Vabbè. Il ritorno di due grandi antagonisti assieme questa volta. Squelch. No other word could do that sound justice. After sucking in all of those goats, the spiderweb ball vanished into thin air with a squelch. After that, there wasn't even a trace left. Only the nighttime scenery of the rose garden remained silent, but for the sound of the falling rain. Eva drifted down from the sky. Your aunt will always be on your side, Ange-chan. I'll never let anyone insult your family. Aunt Eva? I knew I should be grateful, and yet it really wasn't easy for me to believe that Aunt Eva was my ally. Eva realized that too. Don't worry. I'm not doing this because I want to be thanked. But I'll always be on your side. See you later. She giggled, spun around and vanished. Now that she had already left, I started to regret not saying even a thank you. So I figured I should at least thank the other person who had saved me. Thanks for saving me. Who are you? I already knew her name. What I really was asking was why she had saved me. I am Furudo Erika, a detective. And I am also a witch. A witch? A witch of truth. A witch who searches for the single truth. And you're the same, aren't you? Those 2 days, October 4th and 5th, 1986, I was so desperate to know what happened that I took a step off the roof of that skyscraper, drifted through several witch games and fragmented worlds, and abandoned myself to this long journey with no rewards. All I want is to know what happened that day. All I want is the single truth of that day. Looking for someone like that is what makes someone a witch of truth. So, looking for something like that is what makes someone a witch of truth. So you're just the same as me. That's why I came to save you. I want to know just what happened on that day. No one will tell me. No one knows. But I know something happened that day. I would give up anything to learn what that was. That's the one thing I need to know no matter what, even if it kills me. So, tell me, do you know the answer? What happened on this island? To a witch of truth? Is the truth something that is given? If I told you that such and such was the truth, would you really just accept whatever I said? No, I wouldn't. What did Butler-san show you today? Today, Oni-chan showed me a bizarre Halloween party. It must have been heartwarming and a lot of fun, but it definitely wasn't the truth. Didn't Butler-san show you that saying... Ah, scusa. Didn't Butler-san show... Ah, scusate. Ora ho capito la frase. Didn't Butler-san show you that saying it was... Nessun uomo. Didn't Butler-san show you that saying it was the truth? Didn't Butler-san show you that saying it was the truth? No, non ho capito. It definitely wasn't the truth, okay. Didn't Butler-san show you that saying it was the truth? It isn't. That couldn't be the truth. Sometimes other people will try to mislead us by claiming they know the truth. But a real witch of truth must continue to pursue the single truth without being led astray. That's why you can't accept the fake truth that Butler-san's trying to force on you. You care about finding the one real truth more than anything. Oni-chan is trying to muddy the waters. I felt that this whole time. Even though he knows everything about what happened that day, he won't tell me anything at all. How is he any different from Aunt Eva, who mocked me and refused to tell me anything, even until the very moment of her death? Why won't Oni-chan tell me? Why? Why won't he tell me? The dam inside my heart bursts. Why won't Oni-chan tell me what really happened? Why? Why? I'm the only one who doesn't know. No one is telling me the truth. Tell me. Tell me what happened that day, Oni-chan. I cried out at the rainy night sky. Hot tears poured from my eyes, but they were covered by the cold rain that beat against me, so no one other than me would know that they were tears. No one would know my pain and sadness. I'm always the only one left out, all alone. Someone tell me what happened that day. No one can tell you. After all, truth is something you can only grasp on your own. Where is the truth? How can I find it? Everyone is hiding it. They won't tell me. I'll grasp it myself. So please just tell me where the truth is hidden. Very well, I can tell you. As that voice rang out, the world bent and swirled. After blinking several times, I realized that the world had become a sea of stars. No, that's not quite right. There are stars up there in the sky, but those lights below me aren't stars. They're lights from building windows, street lights and car lights. I was floating in the dark sky over a city lined with skyscrapers. I can't tell you what the truth is. However, if it's a question of how the truth can be reached, I can show you the way. You. Various bad memories are jumping out at me from the back of my mind. That's right. I was chained in a place in a strange theater thing and forced to watch a repulsive fragment where mom and dad committed murder. I never said that what you saw was the truth. But you used the red to... But you yelled out and interrupted and stopped me from saying any more. This is all truth. Of a sort, but not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. That's what I was about to say. cazzo vuoi pigliare per il culo Ben Castle? Ma va a cagare. Bevo un attimo. Tra l'altro non so voi, ma l'audio è un po' alto, perché l'ho alzato qua. Non so se voi cambia qualcosa. No, voi non cambia niente, è solo quanto arriva a me. Fantastico. No. Stavo vedendo i livelli e voi non è cambiato niente. Ho fatto da 100 a 0 e voi non cambiava niente. Era solo l'audio che mi arrivava in cuffia che era alto, perché l'avevo alzato per Dark Souls, mi sembra. Sì, comunque, ma va a cagare. Just how far are you willing to go to mock me? I apologize. But I did want to test you. Test me how? I wanted to see if you were ready to accept the truth, no matter what it may be. The truth can betray you sometimes. In fact, there are times when it shows itself as the thing you least desire. The fragment I showed you was probably the worst one imaginable for you. However, you aren't fit to reach the truth unless you have the strength and the courage to withstand it, even if it's something like that. I have no comeback. Finding the truth is my goal. I just want to know what happened on that island on that day. I don't think of myself as wanting to hear only the facts that are pleasing to me. Have I really been prepared to face the bloody, unbearable truth that's probably waiting there for me? I will find the truth. Ah, scusa, inventato. If I find the truth, it will mean having to confront my family's tragic end directly and accept it as it is. And accepting that means abandoning any faint hope for that convenient miracle, the idea that one of them might have survived somehow and might return even though 12 years have passed. Even though I know a miracle like that would be completely ridiculous, if I am honest with myself, I have to admit that the faint hope it brought me has given me comfort these past 12 years. I want to know the truth, but I want one of them to come back. Those two wishes contradict each other. By learning the truth, I'll be forced to accept that no one is coming home. The truth is always cruel. At times it can even cut down your hopes. Most of the time, humans don't realize the costs of learning the truth. I simply wanted to see if you had the necessary resolve. I must choose between my two contradicting wishes. Will I find the truth and abandon my optimistic hopes for my family's return? Or will I give up on the truth and keep waiting for the family that's never actually going to come back? Deceiving my numb self forever with the childish illusion my brother provided for me? Tell me, Ange, are you truly determined to learn the truth? I am. And your resolve will not falter? It won't. After hearing my immediate reply, Ben Castle stared at me. Are those expressionless eyes of hers measuring my resolve? Now that my brother has even gone to the lengths of becoming a game master to cover up the truth, the only thing I can rely on is my search for the truth. In my search of the truth is the path that Ben Castle can show me. Ci stai cascando di nuovo, Ange? Davvero? È la seconda volta, eh? È la seconda volta. Dopo quello che ti ha fatto l'ultima volta, tra l'altro. Sei così disperata? Deep in your eyes, I see the glint of one who seeks the truth. Will you tell me? Will you show me the way that leads to the truth? Yes, I'll guide you. Did you forget, Ange? I am your guardian, am I not? When did I last hear Ben Castle use that word? That's right. At the very beginning, I met her in this future world and became a witch, with her as my guardian. That's when I became the Beatrice of 1998, the one who could defeat the Beatrice of 1986. You are the Beatrice of 1998. Ange Beatrice. I became your guardian and recognized you as a witch. However, you aren't an endless witch like Beata. A witch of truth. That's right. You are like Erika, a witch of truth who will seek the single truth, undeceived by any illusions. As a witch of truth, Ange Beatrice has the power to reach the single truth, right? Yes. However, up until now, you have been unable to use this power. Do you know why? I do now. Even as I sought the truth, I unconsciously resisted finding it out. Exactly. Finding the truth was your goal, but at the same time you were unconsciously afraid that learning the truth would mean losing that miracle of your family coming back. So, you didn't have what it took to stretch your hand out to the single truth. You're completely right. I have to admit that I was naive. I must admit it. My entire family is dead, and with recognition of that fact, I must expose why they died and who was behind it. Thanks. The fragment you showed me in that dark theater was there to open my eyes. Many games have gone by, waiting for you to become a true witch of truth. But I think there was a purpose for it all. After all, now, in this final game, you have become a witch of truth. Tell me, what happened on that island on that day? I won't ask you to tell me directly, so guide me. What can I do to reach the truth? It is a bit too chilly here. Let's move. To where? To a better place for drinking tea. Massive applause filled the hall. It was an applause in honor of a good fight. Applause in honor of Ben Castle. Yes, Lady Ben Castle's game was another splendid one. We are going to reveal her game board to all of you, so have a go at it. It's pretty awesome. But you solved it in the end all the same. A game that no one can solve isn't a game. The main point is whether it was fun or not. Oh, it was fun. I guarantee it. Same here. At first I thought there was no way anyone could solve it, but the way you can use one confirmed purple statement after another to narrow down the suspect made for a nice puzzle. Come everyone, gather round. Just what sort of game is Lady Ben Castle's mystery? That's for you to find out for yourselves. Objects resembling chessboards were set out on several tables. Crowds gathered around each, looking down with interest. Ho ho! It's like a logic puzzle. Quite an unorthodox one, don't you think? So this is what a witch's game is like. Looking at it like this, it's just a game. But for the pieces, it's a massive series of crimes. Indeed it is. I would not do to waste such a rare gift from Lady Bencastel. It will not do. Let us take this opportunity to enjoy ourselves. Still, this is a tough one. Tomo makes you wonder if it was even made to be solvable, doesn't it? You can't get anywhere unless you try by believing it was made to be solvable. A battle of wits can't begin until you trust the questioner that the problem can be solved. And we'll guarantee that it can. Come on, let's have a go at it. With Butler's encouragement, discussions over Bencastel's mystery game began at each table. The mix of human and fantasy creature in heated discussion was truly a sight to behold. Beato and Bencastel sat in a chair far off from the discussions. Would you like some tea? Any kind of calming black tea for me. With milk, if you don't mind. As you wish. Is there anything you need, Lady Bencastel? Please add some dried plums to some black tea. That's the trick to making terrible tea drinkable. Come now, don't sulk. We are honestly complimenting you for complimenting your game for being such a fun one. Since she had emerged victorious in the game Bencastel had put all of her heart into, the look on Beato's face was positively gleeful. No, I'm not sulking. My face just looks this way. When I managed to spot Ben's own kind of warmth in that expression of hers, I feel like I've climbed to the pitch-black top of a snowy mountain and found the most beautiful star. Well, sorry for having an eternally frosty face. How difficult it is to compliment Lady Bencastel. No matter what you say, she always takes it in a bad way. That's okay. She's the kind who'll think about it for hours later on. At the time who lies in the bed thinking about it and hugging her pillow. Yep, that's Ben. That's totally Ben. 1,000-year-old lesbians. Beato and Lambda Delta giggled together. Bencastel shrugged and looked away. Seriously though, this really was a fun puzzling game. Was it? Thanks. Even though you could have made it unsolvable, you really did make it to be solved. That's not something you can do unless you plan on enjoying a fair game. I like games where I win no matter what. Games that I might lose are just a pain. Later I'd like to switch roles and try another one. I'll make a puzzle and you'll see if you can solve it. A game for you to win against me. Of course I'll use all the know-how I've picked up in my fights with Beato to make it super hard. I'm going to be aiming to win 2 in a row. Guarda che carino. Dai, ti sta facendo anche una cosa gentile, così vinci una volta. Both you and Beato, you have such an interesting way of thinking. How's that? A game is just a means to decide who wins and who loses, right? When you create one, your own victory should be your highest priority. So, why would you go to all the trouble of making a game you might lose? Non l'hai appena fatto anche te, Bern? What fun is there in a game that you always win? That's not even a game. Victory and defeat. It's fun because you're taking part in a fair competition, balanced between these two outcomes. A game isn't a fight, it's communication. You enjoy the process, and if you manage to win, well, that's just an added bonus. Finally I can clearly understand the difference between how all of you think and how I think. What difference? For you, this is communication. It isn't for me. The world you live in must be pretty savage. And how about you? Wasn't it the same for you until you understood Beato's game? An eternal game is eternal torture. Have you already completely forgotten about the pain you suffered? There were days I did think that, but the game is over now. At the end of a game, I don't complain about stuff that's in the past. What happens on the field stays on the field. That is the critical difference between you and me, I think. Your eternal torture was something you could laugh off and forget. Mine wasn't nearly so trivial. That's all there is to it. I don't know your story, your history, but it sounds like you had it rough. To think I'm getting sympathy, yeah? To think I'm getting sympathy from a promoted piece. I must be losing my touch. Ben Castle, sipping the black tea that Genji had brought her, gazed up at the ceiling with a faraway look. Butler may not have known her history, but even he was able to understand a bit of how she felt. Are you being tortured by someone right now? Are you kidding me? I'm as free as I can be. I'm not bound by anyone's shackles. And that's a good thing, isn't it? At least things are better for you now. True, it's much better now than it once was. Though I am on this long, endless journey to escape from boredom. Then, at the very least, your encounters here should have been a good thing for you. Indeed, even the taste of defeat has driven boredom away from me for a time. No, Butler was shaking his head and laughing. We're friends who've enjoyed fighting in a fair game. So, if your days are filled with nothing except running away from boredom, feel free to drop by our place every now and then. We'd love to welcome a friend. And we'll spare no effort in setting up all the entertainment needed to help a friend escape from boredom. You think you can prepare entertainment interesting enough to help me, the great Ben Castle, escape boredom for even a night? I do. That's what it means to be a friend. We won tonight's game, so the next time you come, we'll switch sides. This time, we'll entertain you with one of our games. Of course, we don't intend to let you win easily. We'll challenge you to a devilishly twisted logic game. It won't be something you can solve in a night. It will be good enough to make you stay for a month, racking your brains over it. You would entertain the great Ben Castle as a friend? Yeah, we would. After talking with you, even this dried plum tea is starting to taste sickly sweet. Gooey enough. What a pain. I heard from Beato. Sounds like this dried plum tea stuff is one of your favorites. Next time we'll toss some high-class dried plums covered in gold leaf into your tea, so make sure you come again. If you really plan to do that, I suggest you find some better tea to start with. Tea like this doesn't inspire me to pay you a second visit. Oh, come on. Guess you drink high-grade black tea all the time. Alright then, next time why don't you invite us to somewhere we can drink some of this high-quality tea? Me? Invite you? It's only fair, right? We've treated you. Now it's your turn. Yes, it will be only fair. So let's have a game. Let's have the game be fair too. Let's switch sides and start a new game. I'm looking forward to it. We won this time, but who knows about the next? There's some confidence you have there. And yet I'm afraid you're mistaken on one point. What's that? My game isn't over yet. I wonder who will win in the end. After taking one more sip of her black tea, Bencastle set her cup on the table, wearing a thin smile. The tea here is far too sweet to drink. Thank you, Genji. Take this away, please. As you wish. Bencastle asked for her tea to be taken away after taking only 2 sips. Butler smiled, realizing that this was just Bencastle's way of being shy. Butler, why are you smiling with such a foolish, carefree face? If you really think this final game will be nothing but a happy epilogue, then I'll have to invite you all to a proper game for bringing this tale to a close. Butler, you forget things too easily. Don't you remember in whose hands lie the key to this final game? The inside of my nose itched. I've never regained consciousness to a smell before. Oh, guarda dove siamo. Slowly I opened my eyes. Wait, when did I lose consciousness in the first place? I don't remember going to sleep or falling unconscious. That's right, Bencastle invited me to come to a place better for drinking tea. That's when my memory gets hazy. And since the smell of black tea is what woke me up... Where am I? How Aurora's study. I hate to admit it, but her tasting tea really is excellent. I was sitting on what appeared to be a sofa in a dimly lit study. Bencastle sat across from me, and right before my eyes was a beautiful cup filled with hot steaming hot tea. Isn't this place... I remembered. I've been here before, wasn't it? How pleasant it is to see you again, child of man. Yes, that voice. Just hearing it brings back memories. Long time no see, my master. I didn't think I would get the chance to welcome you into my study again. To think that that game of yours is still continuing. It won't be continuing much longer. This is the end, the true final game. Stavolta per davvero. This was the study of Fezarin Augustus Aurora, the majestic witch of theater-going, drama, and spectating. Once in the past I was summoned by her and ordered to be her reader or Miko. Don't tell me you want me to read again. I wasn't the one who called you here. My Miko brought the two of us together. For what reason? Isn't it obvious? To show you the path that leads to the truth. You'll show me the way, Fezarin? I am the witch of theater going, though I dislike interfering with the actors on the stage. So, between Butler's boring play and my exciting one that manipulates the branches of fate, which one would you rather watch? I know you can't stand even a minute of boredom. As Featherin rocked her rocking chair, she looked up at the ceiling and chuckled. She clearly holds some key to the truth I seek. And yet, you are literally the one holding the key. I can do nothing but tell you where to find the keyhole, child of man. I don't remember saying anything out loud, but Featherin answered my question as though I had. Come to think of it, that's right. Featherin can read the thoughts of a mere child of man like me as easily as she can hear me speak. Well, I guess that will help us get to the point quicker. Oni-chan gave me this key, but he just said something about how I'd know how to use it when the time was right. He didn't tell me what it was actually for. Do you two know what is this key for? Oni-chan said it was something very precious. Explain, my Miko. No way, you explain. You demand that your master explain? You've got to participate on the stage every now and then. Otherwise, you'll just go senile all the faster. My. And yet the memory of my long overdue appearance on the stage when Ange was reader should have been enough to last me a few more centuries. Tell me, what is this key? A physical manifestation of the decision you are to make. This tale, this game, will end by asking you to make a certain decision. What you hold there is the act of your decision embodied in the form of a key. The physical manifestation of my decision. Exactly. Ultimately, Butler is probably planning to put you in front of two doors, both of which can be opened by the key. Then he'll ask you to choose which door to open. He must have told you that much, right? He didn't tell me anything at all. He just kept saying things like, you'll know when the time comes. No one will tell me anything, not Oni-chan, not anyone. Butler probably wants to respect the decision that you make by your own free will. But Ange, you should have at least started to figure it out by now, right? Figure out what? There's an answer Butler wants you to choose, isn't there? Those words made my heart jump in my chest. I've been thinking that. Oni-chan is clearly trying to distance me from the truth, to gloss over it with a vague tale that's almost like a daydream. At the 1986 family conference, everyone had a wonderful time as they faded away. Everyone is smiling down on you from heaven, so you don't need to feel alone, even in 1998. So give it your all and live on by yourself. I get the very strong sense that Oni-chan is intending to end it just like that. And every time I ask him about it, he dodges the issues and says something about how the decision will be mine in the end. That's right. It may appear that Butler is giving you a fair choice, but he's actually scheming to get you to choosing one of the two answers. You've already seen that farce of a tale that he's using to do that, right? That unbelievably bizarre Halloween party. Everyone so strangely friendly that it was almost sickening. I've already seen more than enough of that tale. So sickly sweet it makes me... so sickly sweet it makes me want to vomit. Where Shiromi Akinzo showered me with affection, where his children swore to support each other, where everyone was filled with happiness and love and hope. He's trying to trick me with those chummy scenes, so he can keep me away from the truth. He's such a coward. Certainly, he might be called a coward from your perspective. But remember, if you are the player in this game and Butler is the game master, what does that mean? In the past, Butler was a player and Beato was the game master, and they each fought for their own respective truths. So, what is it this time? I am a player and Oni-chan's the game master. Could it be that I've misunderstood everything from the very beginning? Oni-chan said he'll tell me what happened that day, so I was under the impression that I'd learn everything as I followed him. How would that be any different than, say, Oni-chan accepting everything Beato said about the crimes being the work of a witch? What a stupid mistake I've been making. This game has always been a fight between me and Oni-chan? I'm surprised you participated in the game without realizing that. Butler really is sly. He just started up the final game without letting you realize that simple fact. Well, it was the same back in Beato's games. Butler was drawn into her game before he knew what was happening. Before he even knew how to fight. That's why I taught him now. That's what I taught him how. È vero. Era il primo Witch Tea Party, se ricordo bene. Dopo il Tea Party dove abbiamo conosciuto, diciamo, il piano di esistenza delle streghe, no? Tra i giochi. Dopo il primo Tea Party, il primo Tea Party delle streghe, il punto di domanda, c'era Ben Castle che parlava con noi, che stava parlando con Butler, ma stava parlando anche il giocatore su come si faceva ad affrontare il gioco. It's exactly the same now. You were forced to start this game before you understood anything about it, and I've come to tell you the truth. To tell you who you've been fighting against and for what. I was too shocked to speak. And finally, I realized that what I needed to accomplish in this game. I've always been passive. I was sure that Oni-chan would tell me everything, so I naively thought I just had to believe whatever he said. No, that was wrong. This game is a battle between me and the one who wants to reach the truth. Between me, the one who wants to reach the truth, and Oni-chan who wants to trick me and chase me out into a 1998 where I'm all alone. All this time I've kept on saying that Oni-chan was foolish and naive, and now I see that I was more naive than anyone else. Despite this, Ben Castle didn't snare at me. On the contrary, she looked at me with a cold gaze as if to say, "So, you're finally taking your first step? Now, do you understand your own purpose and the purpose of that key?" I gripped the key that Oni-chan had hung around my neck, and for a while I shook with an emotion that I couldn't understand. Now that I know Oni-chan tricked me, it would be easy to hate him, but hating him would be missing the point. After all, this is a game between me and him. Oni-chan has done nothing but make the optional moves to win against me. If games aren't just a playful way to communicate, if they're a process that decides who wins and who loses, then there can be no fair games. The best strategy is obviously to hit your opponent with a sneak attack and defeat them before they even know what's going on, never again telling them the rules. Never even telling them the rules. In that sense, Oni-chan hasn't done anything wrong. He is using that sickly sweet illusion to trick me and force me into a lonely future. They'll be the only ones having a good time in the cat box, and I'll be the only one chased out. Thank you. I'm grateful. I think I've finally been able to truly open my eyes. E il bello è che in tutto questo Fezarin, sì, ha detto sì, non ti sei resa conto, però non sta dando corda a Bern, perché Fezarin è veramente theater going, che si mette lì, guarda e fa, ah, coglione. Vabbè. Please, don't hate, Butler. After all, one-sidedly tricking the opponent is what game masters do. I know. Unichan took the best option from his position. That's all there is to it. So, I need to make the best possible moves from my position. My goal is now clear. October 4th and 5th, 1986. What happened on Rokkenjima that day? I need to tear off the veil covering the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. Onichan gave me this key, probably because he wants me to put into the keyhole of his choosing. That's why he keeps showing me this sentimental illusion. Mi dispiace, Ange, che non stai veramente capendo un cazzo. I won't be fooled anymore, dice as she's being fooled. Solo dall'altra parte. I'll open the door I want to open. Certainly, this is more my kind of tale than one with an Ange that does whatever Butler says. In that case, I really will hand things over to you now. Tell Ange, tell her where the keyhole that leads to the truth is. Tell me, where is the keyhole? Very well. Have a seat, first of all. I will bring it over right now. Oh, davvero? Già, la introducono così presto? Voi non sapete, ma io so. When Fezarin rose from a rocking chair, my vision seemed to twist and bend. What? Some kind of interference? Why now, when Fezarin is about to show me something important? Is my head suddenly getting... I dug my fingernails into my knees, clenching my teeth to keep from losing consciousness. Okay. However, the world just kept twisting more and more, except for the feel of the sofa beneath me. I couldn't sense anything at all. Missy? It looks like she's here. The door opened and Achi Otoya appeared. What's going on? This isn't the world of witches, but the world of humans? I was sitting on a sofa and Namakusa was behind me. There's no need to feel confused. Fezarin and Achi Otoya are the same being. To her, the difference between the two worlds is a trivial thing. To put it in words of that lover of theater going, it's like having a slightly different background behind the stage. So there was no reason for her to feel hesitant. Should I call you Achidio this time? How complicated names are. Even though both of us are still here, just like before, you have to wonder what to call me. True. Calling you Fezarin would be a bit rude to you now. To an actor, the names of the part they play are only temporary. Precisely, child of man. Fezarin? Amakusa's eyes went wide as he wondered what I was suddenly talking about. I ignored him and continued. So, what are you going to show me? As I spoke, my eyes were caught by a heavy-looking object she held under her arm. At a glance, it looked like an encyclopedia with a fancy binding. Do you know what this is? As Fezarin spoke, she set the heavy object on the table. My first thought was of a grimoire. The heavy book had a mysterious, mystical feel to it, like something Maria Onechan might carry around. The most remarkable feature of it was the large, sturdy lock that held it shut. Why would someone go so far to keep people from reading a book? Why don't you just take it and observe the back? The back? I flipped the heavy book over on my lap. And as soon as I saw it, I gave a small gasp. Eva? Ushiromiya. Without a doubt, those words were written there in English letters. What is this? Aunt Eva's diary? Could this be that rumored... Do you know something about this? Just a rumor. They say that President Eva had a secret diary that she kept always locked up. They say that she took it with her everywhere she went. At least that's what I heard from some of the other bodyguards. Secret diary. And why is that here? It was in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Eva passed away. The diary was hidden behind her bed, so it remained in that room for some time, even after her death, before it was found. It was probably someone who worked for the hospital or as a patient or their family who happened to find it. Of course, by that time there was a huge movement dedicated to the Rokkenjima mystery, a locked diary found in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Eva spent her last moments. That would be absolutely priceless. The discoverer probably handed it over in secret to one of the witch hunters, who would be able to accurately determine its worth. Luckily, the witch hunters who got their hands on this book were all noble and upright people. No content, these two upright, ok, sì, ho letto giusto. Not content to boorishly destroy the lock and reveal the truth, they simply satisfied themselves with the fact that the truth of that day slumbered just on the other side of this mysterious lock. Thanks to that, Eva's diary had remained undamaged to this very day. It's already known that Natsui, wife of Kraus, the eldest son of Kinzo, sealed all of her complaints and repressed feelings by writing them down in a diary, which she treated like some sort of charm. E come fate a saperlo? È stato trovato galleggiante nell'acqua anche quello, con tutte le sue fantasie sessuali per Eva, ovviamente. So Aunt Eva did the same thing. It's possible, at least. Unlocking the hinges of this diary would be a pain even if you did have a key. It's sealed up tight like a corset. Amakusa was right. This wasn't a diary made to be casually opened and reminisced over. It's probably safe to assume that this diary was used to forget things by writing them down and sealing them away, just like Ushiroma Natsui's. And on top of that, Eva brought it with her into her hospital room, then hid it behind the bed without telling anyone about it. Don't tell me that the diary contains... Are you saying that Aunt Eva wrote down what happened that day? By reading its contents, you will probably learn everything. However, we don't know where the key that unlocks it is. I jumped. Then I looked down at my chest. That's where my brother hung that key. Huh? It's gone. The key's gone. What's wrong, Missy? What key? It's been hanging from my neck the whole time, hasn't it? Never noticed it. You had a key hanging from your neck? I understood almost immediately. In the world of humans, I haven't found the key. The me with the key is on the game board in the world of witches. Make me the me with the key. I'm going to unlock this diary. Fezarin lifted a finger, spun it around, and the world twisted again. When I returned to Fezarin's study, the key faded back into existence, hanging from my neck. But at the same time, the diary on my lap faded out of existence. Where did the diary go? It should exist somewhere on the game board. Since it is one of the keyholes that you are to be given, it must exist somewhere. Did Oni-chan hide it somewhere? Since Butler is trying to make this a game between you and him, it probably isn't completely hidden. What do you mean? Even if Butler thinks of it as a king that mustn't be taken, there would be no game unless it existed somewhere on this board. In other words, it's somewhere in the Ushiromiya mansion. Or you may already have been given an opportunity to witness it. Like how a swindler has already hidden a trap in a microscopic letter on the first page of a contract you sign. If Butler follows the rules of a mystery as the game master, clues must be shown. So the choice that leads to Butler's defeat must also have been shown. Ange, try and remember. You should have seen Eva's diary already in Butler's world. A voi? Voi sapete dov'è? Dov'è il diario? Ho comunque una cosa che ha lo stesso aspetto. Scusate se vi faccio interagire tanto, ma è divertente e vi tengo svegli. E uso anche l'opportunità per bere. Sì, esatto. Adesso non penso sia lo stesso diario perché non avrebbe senso. Non è il diario di Eva quello che Butler mente dentro la tomba di Beatrice. Però, almeno dal punto di vista del gioco, ha lo stesso disegno, ha la stessa CG. In that instant, from the back of my mind, drifted the very scene of this final game. The very first scene. In the chapel. A book lying on the altar, a book with a lock on it. As soon as I showed interest in that book, my brother suddenly got serious and told me not to touch it. That was on Eva's diary. That's right, Ushiromiya Eva's diary, the book of the single truth, with the truth of that day written inside it. The book of the single truth. And is the truth really written inside it? After all, there's a chance that it's just something on Eva. I'll give it to you in red truth. Ushiromiya Eva's diary, the book of the single truth. As written within it, the truth of Rokkenjima during October 4th and 5th, 1986. Che bella questa. Come si chiama? No! No! Black cat scratch marks. Comunque mi correggo. Comunque mi correggo, non è il coso, il libro che Butler ha messo dentro la bara di Beatrice, ma è quello che era nella cappella all'inizio di episodio 8, che è la fine del 7 e l'inizio dell'8. Sono due libri diversi. Anche io ricordo la CG è diversa, perché quello usava la CG del diario di Maria, mentre questo è diverso, il diario di Eva ha tutto il meccanismo con i lock dorato con la farfalla davanti. Sono due diversi, anche perché non avrebbe avuto senso. Ok. The discussions over Ben Castle's reasoning game were getting heated at each of the tables. At some point, each table had started competing to see which could solve it first. Sì, infatti, Jover. Ben Castle. Haven't Ange and Erika arrived yet? They should be here any moment. Wanna make a bet on who arrives first? I can understand Erika being late, but what about Ange? Just what kind of pet did you toss her into this time? How rude. She was sitting on a sofa sipping tea. Hopefully the sort of tea you drink suits Ange's tastes. Good point. How rude. That tea would suit anyone's tastes. Erika wouldn't even lick the last drop of my tea from the bottle of my miso soup pot. How does miso soup come into this picture? Now that you mention her, Erika, this will be a long-awaited reunion. Yeah, come to think of it, can't wait to see how long it will take her to solve Ben Castle's game. That sort of game is what that kid's best at. She'll probably read it from start to finish 3 times and just say the answer right away. Probably. I look forward to seeing her give the correct answer immediately with a smug look on her face. Come now, this is Erika we're talking about. She'll probably pull out some twisted logic and say that it was possible from someone other than Butler's family. Good point. In fact, I'd like to hear her proud, twisted logic even more than the right answer. Apparently, Butler and Beato were looking forward to their reunion with Erika. They had already dueled with Erika in 2 separate games, but now there was no distinction between foes and allies. They truly wanted to welcome her to this after-show party as a friend. Still, it is a bit unexpected. What is? You know, it's surprising that you let Ange go this easily. Making sure that Butler and the others couldn't see her face, Lambda Delta sniggered. Non ho mai sentito questo verbo in vita mia. Cosa vuol dire? Tipo ridacchiare, ghignare? Non sono curioso di sapere. A half-suppressed, typically scornful laugh. Ok. Ok, no, non l'avevo mai sentito. Ok, quindi tipo un ghigno di derisione un po' nascosto però. Is it really so surprising? Of course it is. I thought that you, being you tortured... I thought that you, being you... Non c'è you, non c'è. I thought that, being you, you'd torture Butler with one tough puzzle after another before releasing her. Or that you'd at least try to give Ange some weird ideas and have her turn the game around in the end. And I thought I knew you better than anyone else in the world. So embarrassing that I was wrong. I'm sure it is. But don't worry. You obviously do know me better than anyone else in the world. Yeah, of course. After all, I love, adore, and understand you more than any other person in the universe. Lambda Delta was flustered with Bencaster apparently friendly words, which were very rare coming from her. Butler-sama, pardon me for interrupting your conversation. Ange-sama has returned. Oh, she's back. Great. So, is she okay? It seems that she was soaked by the rain, but Kumasawa is bringing her a towel now. When Butler heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned to face Bencastle, showing her a forced smile as though apologizing for still suspecting her just a little. Bencastle showed no reaction and simply continued to wear a blank expression with a slight smile. Ange-sama has returned. I'm back. Butler, Ange's back. Ange, wonderful, I was so worried. Ange stared at Butler as he dashed forward towards her with a relieved smile. Her expression seemed somehow indifferent. The butler. Looks like he thought I had you hanging by chains in a cave or something. No, I didn't think you'd go that far. I was just having some tea at the house of one of Bencastle's friends. It was delicious. Were there any dried plums or miso soup in it? Why would there be? As Ange spoke bluntly, she walked right past her brother and exchanged a few whispered words with Bencastle. What is it, Butler? Nothing. Nothing at all. As if he said that his little sister being called to him had left him feeling forlorn, Beato would either laugh at him or scratch him. After all, Ange was a girl at a tender age. She might be in a bad mood for a reason that a man like him couldn't understand. Taking note of this and having satisfied himself that Ange was okay, he made to walk away. But Ange is calling for you. Sorry. I've been trying to get your attention for a while. Don't ignore me. I wasn't really ignoring you. What's going on with you anyway? You've looked like you're in a bad mood for a while now. I imagine Bencastle gave her something strange to drink and pretended it was just some rare sort of black tea. I have no business with you. Back off for a bit, would you? I want to talk to Oni-chan alone. Come. I may not look it, but I am the wife of the territory lord. When it comes to Butler, I am far more... Sorry, Beato. Would you mind leaving for just a bit? By now, Butler had realized that Ange's issue was more than just a slight bad mood. Beato puffed out her cheeks as though she wanted to say something back. However, she just let out a sigh and walked away. Is this okay? It is. After all, this game is between me and you, right? I'm the player. You're the game master. No matter how many pieces get between us, in the end, it's still a direct battle between you and me. Well, it is true that I am the game master, but it's not like I'm fighting against you or anything. This final game was held so you could be invited to the Rokkenjima of 1986. Games are played to decide who wins and who loses. It's not called a game unless you have foes and allies. Don't try to trick me. What are you talking about all of a sudden? You had me totally fooled. At first, I actually thought you'd take me to that day in 1986. But that wasn't true. It was all a farce you created, hasn't it? You're using this sentimental tale to dodge the issue and leave me confused. You're trying to chase me out into a lonely future with nothing but this lukewarm happiness as a parting gift. There's just one thing I've been after since the beginning. What happened on Rokkenjima that day? And the only answer you gave me was this game. This sentimental party of illusions. Your answer to my question is beyond clear at this point. I want the truth. And you have no intention of telling me. Ange, listen, you've got it wrong. Don't try and trick me. I know that this game is the final fight between me and you. Me searching for the truth of that day, and you trying to hide that truth behind an illusion. It's exactly the same. The setup is no different than those fights between you and Beato. I wouldn't have been much longer before I was chased out of the game board with everything still vague and fuzzy because of you. Well, sorry, but I figured out that this late in the... Well, sorry, but I've already figured out that this game is a battle. Don't think you'll trick me so easily anymore. Ange's shouting tore apart the peaceful atmosphere. The family members and the residents of the fantasy gulped and watched the scene, wondering what was going on. Beato tried to run up to Butler, but he motioned for her to stay back. What is it you want? There's only one thing I've ever wanted. The truth of Rokkenjima in 1986. That's all I'm looking for. Truth is sealed within the cat box. It can't be reached by someone outside the cat box like you. Is this why you're trying to pawn me off with this sentimental illusion? Yes, this is an illusion. However, I wanted you to remember this fun atmosphere, the harmony within your family. It's not about what happened on that island that day. I wanted you to remember the warmth of these family conferences, a warmth you forgot about. That's just an illusion you're trying to impose on me. I reject that and deny it completely. Truth of 1986 doesn't exist. The cat box is empty inside. You're looking for something that isn't there. I won't be tricked anymore. The truth of that day does exist. It was written down by the sole survivor and preserved to this very day. Butler's expression faltered for just an instant, and Ange didn't miss it. So he was hiding it after all. Onichan has been hiding the book of the single truth from me. Aunt Eva, for the first time since your death, I'd like to express my gratitude. Because you wrote down what happened that day, you gave me one last chance at learning the truth. Ange-chan, you have to listen to me. Everything I wrote down in that diary is nonsense, so it doesn't... There is no point trying to deceive me. Your diary has the truth of that day written in it. It's already been proven with the red truth. Absurd. Who could possibly use the red truth besides Butler, the game master? It's our Aurora, isn't it? That's right. The book of the single truth exists in 1998, the world of the future. Who else could perform the crucial role of confirming its contents with the red truth? I've heard everything from Berncastel. I've been fooled by you long enough. I don't want some sentimental illusion. I want the real truth. And no matter how hard you try to cover it up in 1986, I can expose it in 1998. After all, you are the Beatrice of 1986, Oni-chan, and I am the Beatrice of 1998. A cyclone rose up around Ange. It was a golden swirl of gold butterflies, just like the golden witch Beatrice. I am Ange Beatrice of 1998, the final golden witch. No witch of the past can defeat a witch of the future. The cyclone of gold broke apart, and as the gold leaves scattered across the room, the final witch who would inherit Beatrice's name in the future appeared. You are the golden and endless witch. I'm not. I am the witch of gold and truth. No illusion can stand in my way. Your boring party is over, Oni-chan. Now it's time for my party to start. I've even ready a game to liven things up. You're up, Anteva. When Ange snapped her fingers, she vanished among a swirl of gold butterflies. In her place, in the middle of the cyclone, a girl wearing a dress appeared, bowing modestly. You. That's pretty rude, you know. Inviting everyone to the party except me. You're Eva, the sole survivor of Rokkenjima, and a witch of the future, the golden and endless witch from 1986 to 1998. In the world of the future, Butler-kun, your sappy illusion is more fragile than a flake of snow on a lake. Okay, let's have some fun. Come, try to remember, all of you. Remember your endless theory making. When Eva held her hand to the heavens, light gathered there and took the form of a bottle. Yes, a bottle. A glass bottle with no label. There was no alcohol inside. Sealed within it was a fragment that let off a pale, sinister light. Butler, this is bad. She must not smash that bottle. It's showtime. The bottle was slammed against the floor and smashed to pieces. As soon as the fragment within it touched the outside air, it flashed white and burst. At first, it seemed that nothing had happened. However, Eva grinned at them before becoming a cloud of butterflies and vanishing. Come to think of it, Berncastel was gone as well. What did she do? It was probably a fragment she brought back with her from the world of the future. Perhaps you could call it a contest of the cat box in the future. So, what does that mean? What now? At that moment, they heard a tremendous hiss. It was as though large chunks of hail had started falling everywhere. An earthquake An earthquake accompanied that noise, and the whole mansion groaned. Dust began to fall from the ceiling. At the same time, it seemed as though the curtain-covered windows glowed with a pale light. What on earth is going on? Kirie, look outside! What the hell is that? Everyone rushed to a window in response to her voice. Of course, Butler and Beato went too. When they drew the curtains, Then they drew the curtains, looked at the scene outside, and were stunned into silence. How beautiful! Kinzo's words spoke for the first impression felt by all when looked out the windows. Not all beauty is benign. They always say that beauty has thorns. Though everyone found the scene beautiful, it gave them all an ominous feeling. Outside the window, countless small objects, crystal fragments glowing pale blue, lay strewn about everywhere like fallen hail. The word fantastical perfectly summed up the scene that lay before them in the glowing rose garden. Just now I saw something move over there. Hey, is there someone over there? Wait, huh? A person just grew out of that glowing fragment. Seven Sisters of Purgatory, battle formation. With those words of Lucifer's, everyone finally realized that they were surrounded by danger. One by one, the countless fragments shook and burst, and large dark bodies rose up from inside each. They were giants with goat heads. One after another, they appeared from the inside of broken fragments. The realization that the countless fragments lying all over the rose gardens were responsible for the blue glow covering the entire area sent a wave of cold terror rushing over all presence. 45 white area surveillance. My radars filled with white. We're either being jammed or the vast number of reading is making account of enemy numbers impossible. As she said this, the glowing rose garden outside the window was filling with giant goats. The fragments carrying the goats weren't just in the rose garden, they were spread evenly across the entire island. Not just the rose garden, but the entire area around the mansion had to be half covered with goats by now. For your attention, know that we are completely surrounded. Yeah, we noticed. What will you do now, Butler? Only one thing to do with uninvited guests, and that's to show them the door. Who are these people? I'm guessing they aren't your minions, right, Beato? The ghost form they hold are probably just imitations of the pieces on this game board. They aren't Riche or Lia's minions. This is something worse. I see. A manifestation of the messages within the bottles. Messages within the bottles? Beato's messages bottle? Beato's message bottles? No. These fragments are delusions from people of the future. The endless possibilities are hidden within the cat box. Because of that, those outside the cat box can imagine the inside to be of an infinite number of things. It would seem those endless delusions are the true nature of these creatures. What will those ghosts do to us, I wonder? Natsui però dice queste cose con questi... It doesn't look that they're coming to give us a handshake and a pat on the back. Those people. They're lowlives, making up and passing around stories, imagining the tragedies that might have unfolded for us on this island. They found it so interesting that I never talked about the truth, that they kept on creating tragedies one after another for their own enjoyment. I see. So they're fragments of the future, containing delusions about the 1986 cat box. In the future world, any and all interpretations can and do exist. Unless we deny them, each will be able to call their own views the truth, and they will remain on this island. What a fix we're in! Looks like we're surrounded and fighting for our lives! What are they doing? They're eating. They're eating something. They're eating the roses? The squirming crowd of ghosts was busy doing something. If you looked closely, you could see them sticking their heads into the rose bushes and munching away. It wasn't just the rose bushes. Light poles, the bricks of the flower beds, and even the stone paving itself, they were biting all of it. Almost as if they were trying to eat up the whole island. No, they aren't just eating. If they aren't eating, what are they doing? What they are doing is not eating. They are eroding, shaving away the game board itself. They are eating the game board? In the future, everyone believes that we were swallowed up by a tragedy today. That's why they won't accept the truth where we are enjoying ourselves in peace. Truths of the past are inferior to truths of the future. The merciless future fangs and jaws of these ghosts refuse to accept our truth and are eroding it, replacing it with truth they wish to see. Siccome nel futuro sanno che c'è stata un'esplosione, non si può accettare il fatto che loro sono qua felici, perché sanno che c'è stata un'esplosione e stanno mangiando l'isola fino a renderla l'isola esplosa dell'86, o comunque del 6 ottobre 1986. Damn it. This is our truth. It's not for those people in the future who had nothing to do with us anyway to rewrite it as they please. Oh. The garden outside the window was now filled with too many ghosts to count, all chewing away. This repulsive scene stole the words from everyone's lips. They weren't just stunned into silence. There was just no point in making a fuss and letting the ghosts know for no reason. No point in letting them know that there was plenty of prey waiting in this bright, warm room. Prey that was softer and more satisfied to chew than roses and bricks. That goat there is looking at us. Silence. Don't make a fuss. It's coming this way. Isn't this bad? They saw one of the newly born goats head slowly towards their window. There was already a huge swarm of them in this garden, but it was no surprise that when one of them looked around for new prey, it would see the light from the window. Its immense, eerie body slowly approached. As it grew closer, they could finally see its disturbing form clearly. Their eyes blazed, and yet they were still cold, ruthless and reptilian. The cruel fangs and jaw could tear apart and crush anything. Any fangs that could chew through brick would hardly have any problem chewing through humans. Its massive body had to be taller than the windows themselves, and it was lumbering towards this window. This window isn't made out of some special Ushiromi bulletproof glass by any chance, is it? I doubt even bulletproof glass would stop that thing. It's coming, it's running towards us. For your attention, know that this window shall not be breached. The power of Cornelia's seal formed a shield around the glass. The goat was blown back, unable even to touch the glass because of this power. Its weight made the earth tremble. They could feel that clearly even inside. Brava Cornelia. But that tremor had also drawn the attention of the nearby goats. A pack of goats started shuffling closer, and then, realizing that they were in competition for this new prey, the pack quickly broke into a thundering charge. The window protected by Cornelia's seal will probably be safe. However, there were many windows in the Great Hall. For the first time, those windows became a source of terror instead of sunlight and a lovely view. Gertrude! Kinke. Dimbal Kinke. For your attention, know that this window shall not be breached. Gertrude sealed another window. The goats trying to break in through that one were thrown back. At the same time, those inside the building heard the terrible crash of a third window being shattered. Scattering fragments of glass everywhere, the massive goats broke through the window frame and entered the building. Bellissima l'ossa, sì. Goda, usa i tuoi poteri magici Magica Goda Chef, fai qualcosa. Get back, everyone. Get back. Guardate. On the first twilight, sacrifice the six. Those words were coming from the Kinzo Amma, fai qualcosa. Anche Kraus usa il potere dei pugni che hai usato in episodio 4. Those words really were coming from the ghost's mouth, along with steaming foul breath. However, he didn't get a chance to say any more. Hola. Forehead, neck, shoulder, chest, side, gut, knee. The stakes of the seven sisters buried themselves in deep, one after another. What rough, unappetizing flesh for piercing. I just couldn't bear to gobble up any more of these. Several other windows shuttered one after another, and goats squeezed their way in through the window frames. Io ho bisogno di una custom map di Call of Duty Black Ops 3 zombie in cui sei dentro il mansion di Rokkenjima e ci sono le goats al posto degli zombie. Questa cosa me l'ho fatto immaginare tutto quanto immediatamente. Se sapessi moddare lo farei. E come arma speciale, la Wonder Weapon della mappa, c'è tipo il fucile. Vabbè, scusate. Several other windows shattered one after another, and ghosts squeezed their way in through the window frames. Their mouths were still stuffed with the bricks they had just been snacking on. Each time they chewed, it made a ghastly sound like bones being crushed. We will repel them. Siesta troops, prepare for close-range combat. Hold up. You start firing away and we'll have all the other ghosts coming to join the party. Let's fall back to the second floor. Yuck. Let's fall back to the second floor. If we can seal the staircase, that will buy us some time. Everyone, upstairs! Hurry! After sniffling noisily as though scanning the smells of the around them, the ghosts started chewing on whatever chairs, tablets, or curtains were close by. The ghosts would chew anything to bits as long as it was near them. If the others were careful not to attract the ghost's attention, they would be able to escape from this place. The humans ran on ahead up to the second floor, while the fantasy creatures who were used to fighting guarded the rear. The ghosts were completely absorbed by their all-consuming feast in the hall. No, il dipinto di Beatrice, no! Even the portrait of Beatrice, which might have been called the symbol of the whole Ushiramia family, and now been brutally chewed up. No! Butler, the humans have already taken refuge on the second floor. Good. Lanor, seal all the staircases. Gertrude and Cornelia will handle it. However, they need more time. Loud beating sounds, whether they could be called knocking was unclear, and sounds of shattering glass could be heard from all parts of the mansion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for work. Seven Sisters of Purgatory, right here. Let's go, you lowlifes. Tonight, it's an all-you-can-eat. Siesta troops, halt all external tasks. Cancel automatic updates, accept no data, take no prisoners. Eiserne Jungfrau of the 7th District. By the Territory Lord's order, carry out your duty. I'll lend a hand. Leon, you're in the way. Go up to the second floor. But we'll leave this to us and go. You have your own job to do. Protect your family. You understand? Everyone stay safe. The mansion was filled with the sounds of bashing, crashing, smashing, and chewing. The ghosts in their wave of destruction were drawing steadily closer. Lord Butler, Gertrude and Cornelia finished sealing the other staircases. The large staircase here is the only one that remains. The other staircases are tiny, so they were fast. On the other hand, this staircase is huge. Ha proprio detto così Luke, tra l'altro. The other staircases are tiny, so they went. On the other hand, this staircase is huge. Looks like you have your hands full for buying time. Your hands full buying time. Lambda Letter spoke as though it was something else's problem. It only took a glance at her face to see that she had no intention in lending a hand. Ed è tipo la più potente qui, quindi. Even so, Beato didn't scold her. This was a game between Butler and Ange. Lambda Delta was only a theater goer who had been invited. Don't think badly of me. Even I'd die if I was torn apart by nothingness. Sorry, but I think I'll stick to being an observer. That's what you've always been. Though it is a shame that we can't ask you for your help. She's being nice. Doesn't want to steal our show. Sure, let's say that's the reason. As a Voyager witch, Lambda Delta could retreat from this game board of Butler if she wanted to. In other words, she was the only one who wasn't in trouble now. See you later. I think I'll watch this game between you and Ben till the end. I'll be rooting for you. As you munch on popcorn? Of course. I think I'll have some soy sauce butter flavor today. Soy sauce butter, okay. Lambda Delta vanished with a pop. As soon as she did, a black hole opened in midair and Gap fell out of it. Butler, Riche, could you come here for a second? You should probably see this. Right now? Yes. Let's go. Everyone, we are counting on you to hold this position. When Gap snapped her finger, a large hole opened up under Butler and Beato, swallowing them both. When he spat them out again, they were in an inky black sky. Both of them were floating in the night sky. They could see Rokkenjima far beneath them, and as soon as they realized it, they shuddered. This is... It's not a crowd, it's a sea. It was no longer a crowd of ghosts, but an entire sea of them. Just as Rokkenjima poked out of the ocean, the mansion was now poking out of a sea of goats. Così, cioè, il mare è fatto di goats, ok? People in the future really are amazing. Just how many of them have imagined the tragedy on this island? They're nothing more than worthless drivel from outside the cat box. Let's clean this place up. Now, look over there. It's hard to tell, but look at the shoreline. The shoreline? It's the easiest to see near the harbor. Look closely. See it? Don't tell me. Yeah, you're probably right. They're eating it. They're eating the whole island. Ehi, però questo non è giusto, eh? Come, try to remember fragments of the future. Why don't you just chew up all ostentations, all the illusions, and all the fantasy forever? As Eva yelled this to the heavens, hovering above the raging sea, a hail fell down with a pale glow. Each one was a bottle with no label and a fragment inside. They poured down onto the island, smashing into bits and scattering the fragments inside them everywhere. Every now and then one of those fragments would split into two, then split into two again, and each single one of those fragments burst and gave birth to a massive goat. To say it was like a bamboo shooting spring up after the rain would be a vast understatement. The goats writhed about like bubbling, boiling water in a pot. They ate at everything they saw. They didn't just eat the harbor, but the trees and the rocks, the entire coastline itself. Hundreds, thousands, no, tens of thousands of goats continued to eat. They were chewing away at every bit of Rokkenjima, of this final game that Butler had prepared. Too bad, Butler-kun. The future wants a tragedy on this island. Even Ange wants the truth. We'll just chew up all ostentations, illusions, and fantasy for them. By now, Butler and the others had to admit it. The future wanted a tragedy. Even if the truth of this island had been a gentle, peaceful thing, the future didn't want that. The truth they wanted was painting over the past. The past is such a fragile thing. Even the cat box is being chewed apart. Just who are these people? And they are really are they really so determined to throw us into tragedy? That's all I wanted to show you. Hopefully, this will be useful for making a strategic decision. Yeah, thanks. Thanks to that, I just feel awful now. Then, let's go to the study next, if you don't mind. Goldsmith wants to talk to you. Gap snapped their fingers and another black hole swallowed them up and spat them out in the study. Gap, if you're gonna drop me, at least do it onto the bed. Grandfather, we're in trouble. There's absolutely nowhere left to go. I know. And even waiting out the storm from here is not an option. Ronove and the others should be able to buy us some time, but that's all. If they just holed up in the mansion and fought from there, it would just be only a matter of time before the swarm of goats got them. Trying to repel a few goats who barged into the mansion would be like using a cup to bail water out of a boat with a hole in it. We could fight defensively for a while, but then it would only be a matter of time. We need to think of something while we fight. Can we escape? Where to? Is there any way for us to leave the game board? Outside the game board is outside our territory. Only a Voyager witch could leave it. Only Bencastle and Lambda Delta could do it. However, there was no way Bencastle would help, and even Lambda Delta had already announced that she would be an observer instead of lending a hand. So, there's nowhere left to run. No, there is just one place. Where? The Golden Land. I see. Is that our only option now? Indeed. The Golden Land is the most impenetrable place of this game board. If we wish to escape, it's that or nothing. These things are eating the cat box itself. For all we know, at any moment, they could start chewing at the Golden Land as well. What should we do, Butler? Not hesitate. We are retreating. If we take too long to make a decision, even that road will be closed to us. Let's evacuate everyone. How can we open the door to the Golden Land? I just have to open it. However, an immense cloud of the anti-magic toxin is emanating from that crowd of goats. It will take some time to open the door. So we'll just got to protect this study with our lives until the door opens. Just have to keep doing what we've been doing. There's one more problem. The door to the Golden Land cannot be shut unless two people close it from the outside. Oh no. No, io non voglio che nessuno si sacrifichi. Two from the outside? What does that mean? As soon as he said this, Butler realized. It must be an agreement made between the three witches who are one. Normally, there's no need to go to through the trouble of shutting the door. We can't do that. We can't do that this time, though. Only you and Beato can fulfill the role of shutting the door. Me, the territory lord, and Beato. It does seem to be the safest choice. Indeed. If it's just the two of us, we might be able to protect ourselves. Okay, open the door. Beato weaved her pipe, leaving a golden trail behind as she sliced the air vertically. Then the gap of the door to the Golden Land appeared. It looked like nothing more than a thin golden string hanging from the ceiling. If you look closely, you could see that the string was getting thicker very slowly. The door to the Golden Land certainly was opening, but so slowly that you couldn't even tell if you weren't careful. At this rate, it would probably take quite some time before it grew big enough to let a person through. Grandfather, Gap, we'll need you to be our inner line of defense. Yes, there may be goats climbing the outer walls. Very well. My rifle is hungry for some prey. Non ti serve Kinzo, tu sei Kinzo Amma. Vai lì e fai la schiena del demone fa la schiena che viene a forma di One Winged Eagle. E poi li prendi a botte tutti quanti. Altro che l'ogre. Sei l'aquila monoalata, Kinzo, vai, picchiali. Perché fucile cosa, Kinzo? Understood. It'll be fun dropping those things into the abyss. Questo Will, sì. A giant was sliced at an angle, splitting into two parts, then fell into the floor, showering it with filthy dark blood and guts. Splendidly done. I'll let you have the next one. Countless massive goats, which had forced their way in from rooms and windows all across the mansion, wandered about in search of something to chew. Vai, brava. Several of the goats noticed the group of people huddled around the staircase and lumbered closer, but they were pulverized by merciless attacks. Ronove's shields easily halted the charging of the goats, and Virgilia's magic spears pinned the giants against the walls. Lanor's and Will's blades also sliced the goats effortlessly in two. The pinpoint strikes of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could pierce the vitals and finish off any opponent, no matter how large. The Sister Sisters were holding their own too. One shot from their high-caliber firearm blasted so many goats to bits that you couldn't count the kills with both hands. Di più di 10! Cosa mi è uscito? They would have been more than a match for a limited number of opponents. However, they weren't just up against a crowd, but an entire sea. It was like a pebble trying to face an approaching waves of the it was like a pebble trying to face the approaching waves of a stormy sea. Hurry up on that gun barrel replacement, requesting cover from the Purgatory troops. Run out of bullets and you're nothing but rabbits. Lame. You don't wanna hear that. I don't wanna hear that from a batch of 7 paperweights who can only kill one person at a time. Yeah, keep them coming. Don't let us get bored. The halls were filled with the corpses of massive goats. As if in fear of this sight, the goats that came in one after another formed a wall, keeping their distance. Perhaps they think they're no match for us. I wish that were true, but it seems that to be a little more than wishful thinking. But it seems to be little more than wishful thinking. What are those guys doing? They're looking at us and whispering at each other. Apparently, they have enough intelligence to talk with each other and cooperate. The ghosts were surrounding them at a distance and whispering to each other. Then they nodded at each other as though deciding something, and the whole group stirred. What are they doing? It almost looked like they're lining up in different order. The enemy is changing its formation. It appears that individuals with greater destructive power are being gathered in the front lines. So what? Let's go. Wait, something's wrong. Lucifer took aim at one of them, going for its forehead. The other 6 followed their lead, trying to pierce the vital organs all over the creature's body. However, there was no sound of pierced flesh. The seven sisters of purgatory were knocked back, unable to cause even the smallest wound. What? What just happened? Those guys are talking about something. The goats kept whispering the same thing over and over as they slowly approached the seven sisters. All of them whispered unanimously. All fantasy is fictional. The seven sisters of purgatory are personifications of the stakes for ceremonial sacrifices, mere creatures of fantasy. They're actually paperweights. They're actually paperweights. As they whispered curses that denied the seven sisters' existence, the goats lumbered closer. Get back, purgatory troops! We'll cover you! It's time you learn a lesson, goats! The golden bows of the sister troops mowed down the wall of goats with a shower of bright golden bullets. Some of the goats were torn to pieces, but some of them seemed completely unaffected. Then the goats who were uninjured all whispered as one. The Sisters Imperial Guards have Maria rabbit dolls as their vessels. They are actually rabbit dolls, Maria's imagination, fantasy, fictional beings. All of the crimes can be explained by mystery. All fantasy is irrelevant. Looks like we've got lots of people who won't accept the existence of magic. And that means no magical attacks will have any effects on them. Chiamate Kyrie! Quel doppio fucile. Does that mean that all of our attacks will be completely useless? Endless nine. If they don't accept that we exist, our attacks can't hurt them. Is that possible? We'll have to test it. Renove stepped forward, stamped on the floor twice, and a red barrier rose up in front of him. The crowd of ghosts dashed into it with a terrifying force. While some ghosts were blown away by it, several of them slipped right through the magical barrier. Renove is a creature of magic, a creature of fiction. Genji is Renove's vessel, an imaginary version of Genji. I see. So even my attacks will not affect some of them. There was no longer any point in Virgilia trying to throw her own magic spear. Some of the goats must also have decided that her existence was fictional as well, and she would no longer be able to hurt them. All of these great demons, great witches, high-level furniture and weapons were overcome with the fear of the crowd that surrounded them, and a crowd that would not be affected by any of their attacks. What are we going to do? We'll keep fighting until the end. We do not have the permission to die in battle. Fantasy is fiction. Fantasy is fiction. Is all fiction, vabbè. Fantasy is all fiction. A shriek from one of the goats became a signal for the wall of them to break. They pushed forward with gaping mouths and foul breaths, each trying to reach their prey first, trying to return this fictional creature to nothingness. Look out! Virgilia leapt in front and held several of the sisters. Virgilia leapt in front and held several of the seven sisters who had fallen on their butts, overpowered with the ferocity of the approaching goats. However, even Virgilia was a fictional creature to these goats. They could chew right through her like cotton candy. Il pugno! Ah, ok, il pugno di Ronove. Madame, quickly! Ronove threw himself at the oncoming goats. Even he would be chewed apart easily. Knowing this, Ronove leapt forward. Even if my magic no longer functions, I am still the fiercely passionate and loyal man I always was. And furthermore, did you expect that I would simply sit by and watch a lady die? Ronove's fantasy. Ronove's fantasy. Fantasy this! Ronove slammed his right fist into the side of the goat's face. As soon as he pulled it back, he swung his left leg into the goat's gut, then spun around into a reverse roundhouse that caught the goat again. Ronove knew he could do less damage than a mosquito bite against those who didn't accept his existence. This was what it meant to face an anti-magic defense of 99.999. Ronove's fantasy, a fiction, an illusion. The goat swung its log-like fist with a sound like a storm. Ronove dodged by a hair. If he had been an instant slower, this massive arm would have crushed his head like glass. Ronove, stop this! Run! I, Ronove, cannot help but rise to the challenge when I see a lady in a pinch. A bad habit of mine. Ronove grinned and tried to act tough. He had already abandoned everything. There was nothing he could do here and now, except become a shield to buy time. He had already chosen to abandon his life for this. No, Ronove, please. Ronove's fantasy, he cannot be real. He cannot be real. Those of fantasy do not exist. Do not exist. Fantasy is all puke spittle. Puke spittle. The ghosts kept coming, trying to feast on Ronove. None had any pretension of making this a one-on-one fight. Nothing mattered except chewing apart fantasy. Even just a nibble. As they gnashed those ruthless jaws and fangs, they gathered around Ronove. Ronove's foot hit something and he stumbled. In the same instant, several massive arms reached out and lifted him up. No, ti prego. What are you doing, sister? Shoot them! We would have done that already if it had any effect, yeah? Everyone, please stand back. I should be able to buy you some time as they savor my flesh. Oh, no, bro. Everyone, please stand back. I should be able to buy you some time as they savor my flesh. However, I think they'll find that Ronove has quite a few little bones in him. An elbow rammed itself into the massive, hideous jaws that were trying to chew Ronove's head. Of course, the goat did moan, but that did nothing but deprive just one goat of his right to the first bite of Ronove's head. Many jaws opened wide, trying to crush him and to throw him down into those heartless stomachs, which would permit no heartwarming fantasies to exist. I won't accept fantasy. Won't accept. Explaining everything with mystery is possible. Possible! Fantasy's puke spittle. Everything is mystery. Oh, spada rossa. All of the many arms lifting Ronove up were sliced off. The seven sisters used this chance to fly forward and grab Ronove, dragging him back. Which of you mentioned mystery? Is Dranu's blade effective? I see. If the opponents are calling it a mystery. Blood-red longsword in hand, Dlanor slowly walked forward. Behind her walked Will, tapping his back with his black blade. Well, if you don't think it's fantasy, then let's see what your theories are. I cannot wait to hear your opinions. The crowd of goats stepped back. Though they had been so vicious against the fantasy creature, they stepped back when faced with despair wielding swords of mystery. There have been a great many locked rooms, murders on this game board. Choose whichever you please, and we will parry all of your attacks. No, we don't have to defend anything. Indeed, a mystery is always the source of the challenge. Why should we force to play defense? Do you guys get it yet? You are the ones in the hot seat now. Guarda che smiley face. Blue Truth cut the goats apart. The Blue Truth dwelt within each and every one of the riddles in Beato's game so far. What about the locked room with the chain, first game, second twilight? What about locked room of the chapel, second game, first twilight? What about the trick to killing Nanjo, third game, ninth twilight? There was no end to the blades. The countless riddles Beatrice left behind became blades, challenges that tore the goats apart. If they wanted to deny fantasy, they would have to make a counter-argument. They would have to deal with every single trick as a mystery. However, although the goats spoke with words of anti-fantasy, most of them had prepared no answer for the mystery. Well, every now and then there was a goat who did have an answer. Someone outside the Ushirami family was hiding on the island and... Nox first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. There are multiple culprits all working separately, and it just happened to look like a single culprit. Van Dyne, Rule 12. There must be one true culprit. You mean everything, but that is forbidden. Boring, right? To have a genre like that. Personally, I think mystery should be more flexible. The 10 Nox commandments and the 20 Van Dyne rules are behind the times. The definition of mystery genre is changing with the era, I think. They're getting rebellious. Perhaps we are behind the times. In that case, let's see if you have any theories that can satisfy us. Come. The whole crowd of ghosts charged them. In their fangs, each of them carried theories that could crush Beato's locked rooms. The bodies of the ghosts were different than the ones who had become corpses so easily just now. They had mystery-style answers to several locked rooms, so it would take several blades hits to deal them a fatal wound. However, Beato had left many blades behind, and all of them were exceedingly sharp. So the pair of inquisitors didn't think of this as a desperate battle. This was mystery. The goal of the mystery is to use all of your imagination and knowledge to challenge each of the riddles and on. Doing this is the greatest enjoyment of the mystery genre. So they laughed. Both Will and Lanor laughed. With smiles of admiration at the theories that the goats had put everything they had into, they countered with blades from all the locked rooms. The crowd of goats was no longer an encirclement, but a great wave threatening to swallow the pair up. And yet the pair repelled the enemy without giving an inch. They resisted firmly, cutting through the tsunami of wailing goats. It was like an ice-breaking ship knocking a path through a frozen sea. They entered the locked room through a hidden passage that no one else could use, and... Nox, third! It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. After the hidden passages was used, it was welded shut and became unusable, so no hidden passages existed at the time of the inspection. Nox 8th, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Ma questa non l'abbiamo mai vista, no? Questa CG non l'abbiamo mai vista. This goes so hard. Those are all fake murders. No one is actually dead. So all locked rooms were constructed by the so-called victims. Lanor hesitated for just an instant. After all, this cliched and simple theory managed to get around both Beato's locked rooms and Nox's decalogue. Lanor saw nothingness inside the ghost's massive jaws. Van Dyne Rule 7. It is forbidden to have a crime without a corpse. Solely the jaw of the ghost had closed over Lanor's head. However, the upper and lower jaw were no longer connected, so the upper half slid off to the side. It looks like even the great Nox never forbade fake murders. There are many splendid mysteries besides murder. The ghost didn't give the pair enough time to have a nice long chat about mystery. The next massive figure immediately enveloped them. Will's blade drew a diagonal slash across his chest, but it was only cut through its clothes, leaving no wound. 20 wedges won't work on this one. Lanor also hit it with her longsword, but still, he could just cut his clothes without leaving a mark on his body. Could it be that this goat had a theory that didn't violate Nox or Van Dyne? Nox and Van Dyne are meaningless. All locked rooms can be undone by one single solution. Because in an attempt to stop the goat from saying more, Willard and Lanor hit it with it. In an attempt to stop the goat from saying any more, Will and Lanor hit it with blades from every locked room, as well as stakes from the 10 Commandments and the 20 Rules, but none of it had any effect. Slowly, the goat clenched its massive fists together and raised them up high. Because... Cos'è? Voglio sapere. With a roar, Will slammed into the goat giant with his body. Though its massive bulk bent back slightly, Will was still leaping into a death trap. However, if he hadn't done so, he wouldn't have been able to protect Lanor. The goat grabbed Will, lifted him up and held him high in the air. Sto finendo la mia abilità di leggere, sto anche finendo il tempo. Siamo arrivati al massimo. Devo chiudere appena possibile. It was like a little kid showing off his favorite toy and waving it around. Let's hear your theory. If I'm not to hear a great theory before I die, it would be a fitting end to me. Van Dyne and Nox are useless for making theories. The goat's massive hands closed on Will like a vice. Vice. All the bones in Will's body creaked. Let's hear your theory. There is no need for a theory. What? Because making theories for any of Beatrice's games is a waste of time. What do you mean? God. This isn't an unorthodox mystery, so thinking about it is... This isn't an orthodox mystery, so thinking about it is just a waste of time. I won't accept Beatrice's games as a mystery. There are no answers to the tricks. It's all just an illusion. Thinking is just a waste of time. No, questo non ha risolto un cazzo. Questo ha detto non si può fare. Gnè. Will's head was lowered, so his face couldn't be seen. However, the arm of the goat holding him was shaking. The embrace of those log-sized arms with superhuman strength was being slowly pushed away by Will's shaking arms. Thinking is just a waste of time? You say that and you call yourself a mystery fan? Mystery is like chivalry. You fight with the noble rules that you've created, with pride in the stance you've taken. Is this worth being a coward if it helps you win? Does losing make the whole fight meaningless if you fought with everything you had? It isn't about winning and losing. It's about applauding to the will to fight even in the most dire circumstances. The goat's arms were now spread wide, and it looked like as though Will was now the one pushing back. Will's face was covered in shadow and couldn't be seen. People like you, who call themselves mystery fans even though they never even try to solve it like a mystery. You're the ones who I really can't stand. Will slammed his forehead into the goat, now unprotected head. And you call yourself a mystery fan? Mystery fan, be proud to join a battle of wits. If you call yourself a mystery fan, it's about time you realized. Giving up is nothing to brag about. Lo sta prendendo a testate. Spoiler, Invincible stagione 3. Così, lo sta tenendo, sta tenendo le braccia di lato e lo sta prendendo a testate. Will headbutted the goat over and over again, veramente. His forehead was gushing blood, torn apart by the goat's fangs, but he kept on headbutting. Van Dyne and Nox may be behind the times, but the mystery genre does progress with time, just like the world around it. However, there's one thing that must never change. This is pride. What is a knight proud of? Not victory. He's proud of the courage that lets him stand up to anyone without fear. Will couldn't forgive the kind of coward who could turn tail from a fight and then brag about it. People who call themselves mystery fans but have no pride were the only ones Will just couldn't bear. The goat, unable to put up with this anymore, then threw Will down to the floor. Then he lifted his fist again, determined to crush Will to pieces this time. Bring it. You probably will beat me to a pulp, but that will be no victory for you. You'll destroy your own pride with your own hands. Pointless. This is no mystery, so why make theories? Thinking is just a waste of time. Useless, useless, useless. Die, die, die. Oh, cos'è? A fist like a cannonball swinging down towards him was the very last thing Will saw before he shut his eyes. È arrivato. If you stop thinking, then you have already lost. In this game, that means you lose. Boh, e con Butler alla riscossa io direi che possiamo fermarci qui.